What's up, YouTube? It's the Console Samurai, and it is New Year's Day 2015, and I want to talk about the movies and games that made me grateful 2014 is over. These are not all just going to be bad, some of them are just going to be because they're really disappointing. Um, so let's get started. First, let's talk about the worst movies. Again, as I said in my Best Things of 2014 movie or video, this is not a complete list. This is just the ones I've seen and the ones that were bad enough for me to remember. Um, I saw Hercules, the one with The Rock. That was pretty bad. That was actually a really bad movie. Um, yeah, no, that was terrible. This is why I don't. Maybe The Rock can't be the star of a movie. He does good in Fast and Furious, but in Hercules, no. Um, Ride Along, the one with Ice Cube and Kevin Hart. It was a pretty bad movie. I actually thought that I had some big expectations because both of them were funny. I thought it'd be actually a pretty good movie, but nonetheless, it was pretty bad. Glad I didn't pay for it. I got it off the HBO on demand. Another one that actually was a real big disappointment and was not terrible, but I expected a hell of a lot more from Seth MacFarlane. Million Ways to Die in the West. It was actually a pretty bad movie. It wasn't terrible, but it was pretty bad. It's definitely one of the worst five I've seen this year. Um, it was nothing but fart jokes and dick jokes, and I mean, I know, granted, that's what he's known for, but it was nowhere near as funny as Family Guy or American Dad. It was pretty bad. The fourth one was Maleficent. I saw that recently. I expected a lot more from that. It really had nothing to do with the story that we all knew it whatsoever. There was very little about it. I thought it was going to be about, Maleficent becoming a villain, and it wasn't. It was we were sold a false bill of goods, and that pissed me off. So I hate that game or that movie. I actually had trouble remembering a fifth movie that was really bad enough to put on my list. So in the comments down below, let me know what horrible, god awful movies you saw this year. Perhaps you hated Godzilla, which I probably could have put on this list, but it was okay. We're going to jump right into my worst games. If you've been watching my channel, you know what one of them is going to be. Destiny. Destiny, I don't know what else I can say about Destiny. That game had potential. But when we got it, it was only partial. It was not even the full game. It wasn't broken like some of the other games, but it was a bad game that had no story, no story development. They put the minimal amount of effort they could into it, and it showed, really, honestly. And the next one on my worst games list was Bound by Flame. That was also a really bad game. It seemed like it was going to be interesting, right? When I read the back of the cover, it seemed good, so I picked it up used and returned it within 2 or 3 days because it was really just that bad. And I gave it that much time because I was really hoping that it was going to get better. As I said in a previous video, I did get a chance to play Assassin's Creed Unity, which, with all the problems that it has and all the microtransactions, it's I have to put it on my list of bad games. Um, it's not the gameplay is not the worst game in the world, but it's definitely, with everything else factored in, it is a pretty bad game in my opinion. Um, Also, The Evil Within. That was a that was a hard game for me to get into. It just dragged so much. Anyway, um, I did not like that game either. And I want to talk about a new trend because we saw a lot this year. We saw a lot of games coming out that had a lot of microtransactions. But we saw a disturbingly large amount of games that were broken on launch. Games like Drive Club, Little Big Planet 3, that had a fair share of problems. Halo Master Chief Collection, that had a ton of problems when it came out. Not as many as Assassin's Creed Unity. That had a ridiculous amount of problems. 40 gigabytes of patches, and it's still not fixed. and then they came out with the free game as an apology, but that was really just to trick you into not being able to sue them. So that one I'm definitely including in this. Far Cry 4 had a lot of problems. What was it? WWE 2K15 had a lot of problems at launch, as did NBA 2K15. That had a ton of problems at launch. It's becoming such a problem now that we have this, and it's one of the reasons why. I mean, 2014 was not the worst year in gaming, but it was damn sure trying to compete. There's just so many broken games, but as far as launches, 2014 is definitely one of the worst years for quality launches. There were so many games that had problems, and that's just the console games. That's not getting into all the PC problems and all the games that came out on PC that were just pieces of garbage. But you know what? Let me know in the comments down below. What's the worst movies of what are your worst movies of 2015? Your worst games? And did I miss any broken games that had horrible launches? And keep in mind, I'm just keeping this 2014, because there were a few that came out in 2013 that had bad launches, but nonetheless, this is 2014 only. So let me know in the comments down below. What did you think? Did I miss a horrible movie that you saw? Did I miss playing a really bad game, or didn't miss it, as the case may be? Let me know in the comments down below. Once again, I am the Console Samurai, and I'll see you around, and Happy New Year.